Yo, what's up, guys? I'm back for another week of breakdown and predictions. This week we got UFC Vegas 88, UFC Fight Night, Tui Vasa versus Tai Burra, two heavyweights in the main event. Kind of lower level card after the card we had last week, especially. And we still have some bets, though. I have a few plays. I got some big props once again, like I did last week, and hopefully going to continue that momentum over there on patreon.com/Guru on the channel with the picks. Last week we went 13-1 on the predictions. The only one we got wrong was Sean O'Malley. So props to him. There was a few people that were really confident in him, and I was thinking that Cheeto could maybe do something. It was totally wrong on that prediction, but other than that, we were perfect on the night, and we're gonna try to have another big night betting and a good night predicting once again. So make sure to hit that like button. Go to patreon.com/Guru if you're interested in bets this week, in different content. There's going to be a couple Cage Warriors cards this week, and MA's ramping up with more shows coming up, so it's always good to be over there on Patreon. But besides that, man, let's get into this fight card. Let's talk about these fights. The first fight on this card right here is Charalampos Grigoriou. He's taking on Chad Anheliger. Both these guys are former Contender Series guys, and they're going to be fighting at 135. And Anheliger, to me, kind of in a win-or-lose position here, or win-or-lose-your-job kind of situation is what I'm trying to say. He's 37 years old, 1-2 so far in the UFC. Usually they give out 4-fight contracts, so I would imagine this is likely the last fight on Anheliger's contract. And for his opponent, he actually is coming in for his debut, won as a nice underdog in the Contender Series, and actually did it in a really good fashion. You know, he caught Cam Smotherman, knocked him out in about a minute, and he's 8-3, so he's kind of has a little bit of a salty record, but he's won 4 in a row, 31 years old, so he's the younger guy, more in his prime, and he needs to get going quickly if he wants to make an impact in the UFC. Both these guys obviously are not spring chickens, but Charalampos is the one with the momentum here. As far as how they both fight, you look at Anheliger, power puncher. The majority of his wins are knockouts and pretty good movement. You'll try to move around, use the counter left hook or the right hand, and decent head movement. He can land some slip and rip shots, but holds his hands low and he gets clipped himself. He's getting older, so those reactions are not going to be as good. Leg kicks have also been an issue for Anheliger, and I expect Grigoriou to throw a lot of leg kicks, probably be the fighter throwing a little bit more volume. And I don't think Chad Anheliger will have to deal with much wrestling here, which is good news for him. He has improved his wrestling and grappling, and in the past it was a really bad problem for him. He got submitted 6 times, but his takedown defense is a little better, and I don't think Grigoriou necessarily poses a big submission threat, even though he trained with good submission grapplers. We haven't really seen that from him, and he usually likes to strike, so could be the type of fight that Anheliger likes, and it could be both these guys going to war. Cardio for Anheliger, I would say, is good, even with his age, and he's willing to take damage and go to war, so he's still there, and he's still someone that you have to be careful and ready for when you fight him. For Grigoriou, he's a powerful striker. He throws heavy leg kicks, big left hooks, good right straights, and when you back him up, he'll either shoot the double or go uppercut left hook. And pressuring Grigoriou and being high volume is how Christian Rodriguez defeated him. Grigoriou can be a little bit flat-footed in fights. Fast fighters can stick and move on him. But in this fight, Anheliger doesn't really have that style, so I think Grigoriou is going to do better on the feet more than likely. But there aren't a lot of setups for Grigoriou or fast strikes. He throws everything with power, so sometimes guys can get in, get out on him, can counter on him. He needs to stay sharp with his defense here, and not get clipped by Anheliger, who's a pretty hard puncher. So both these guys have the ability to knock each other out, but I would say maybe Grigoriou is the one with the better wrestling threat. I mean, it looks like he's been training a lot of wrestling in camp, so maybe that's something that he's going to go to, but both these guys are similar in terms of their low volume. They rely on power. I think Anheliger is a little faster, a little more mobile, but not as good defensively. And I feel like Anheliger is going to take leg kicks in this fight. I think he's going to eat some counters. And I see him just being the low volume guy in a low volume fight that is getting pushed back and not controlling the center of the cage. Both fighters do have knockout upside, so Anheliger could win, but I I don't know. I think Grigoriou could wrestle as well, potentially, and use that to differentiate if it's a really close fight. It's a pass for me personally. I mean, not going to take Grigoriou at the number he's at. I think it's a little bit of a steep price for a UFC debutant that's not that experienced. But I'm going to say Grigoriou wins via decision.